This could become a very controversial conversation, but if you look around, the world is trying to sell us with distractions and unhealthy stuff. Who's addressing pre-diabetic and diabetic? All we did was we ate Dolo.
One of the things I've noticed in the gym is there are different kinds of trainees, right? How do you push your mind to go in that direction? Because it needs incredible motivation and you also need to enjoy the process. So how do you change that mindset?
I don't think you can change that. There are people who like to be accountable. There are people who like to be disciplined.
I have that similar problem, which is I need external accountability. Like if I don't have this feeling at the back of my mind that, okay, Chris is there waiting for me, we need to do the workout, I won't show up. And that's why when he's not there, I don't show up sometimes, right?
The whole marketing that West brought to us was they sold us fast food. They made it glamorous. Like if you eat cornflakes, you're cool. But if you eat appam in the morning, you're uncool. A country like us is facing the challenge right now is because fast food is our main food. The minute I say remove lunch, breakfast, dinner terms from your life is sorted.
So you don't need to eat that much.
Just imagine your car just parked every day. Will you keep filling fuel every time you do 5 kilometers? You wouldn't, right? So why do you treat your body like that? A lot of people ask us, dude, how do you guys work out for like 2 hours and you're killing it and stuff like that? We get a lot of hate also. Buddy, we've taken them there. Not everybody works out for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Trend to execute, no. I think a lot of the young ones from the trend, the minute they see this is the trend, straight press go. Where is your bias?
Is there an optimum time?
There is no one principle in this world. If somebody tells you this is the only way and the right way, run away from that coach.
Huzzi, thanks a lot.
Cheers, buddy.
I had to chase you a bit, but finally happy that we
Not
got to
really,
do it.
man.
A little bit.
Okay.
But your schedule is light, no? You're super packed all through week.
So most of the time it's like a one-on-one life, right? Like you have to physically be there. And if you're like training 8 to 9 people, you have to give it your 8 to 9 hours. Like you can't step out unless it's like lunchtime and
And
time
then you
to, like,
have
go back
your
home.
hours also.
My workout hours, my study hours. So like you have to like compartmentalize the entire day. Like our profession, as smooth as it looks from the outside, you have to adhere to the timings. Otherwise, you're just all over the place because overlaps happen. And then there are 2 clients you've trained together. Then you miss out on your food because you almost anyways every day when you have to eat, you're training. And the usual breakfast, lunch hours, there's work. So it's a little bit of a thing, but it's fun.
How many hours are you training for yourself, like your training program now?
At this minute, I'm not lifting weights. I've given it a break. I think after like say 12 years of lifting, I've decided to like not train weights for at least 2 months. It's just a pretty simple detox from the world of heavy lifting. I'm currently just playing golf, like learning to play golf, and Pilates. So I feel Pilates is my new in thing to study. So I'm studying a lot on how to apply Pilates into athletic performance and developing athletes along with weightlifting and powerlifting and plyometrics and the other agility and speed work that we usually do for the players. So I want to incorporate some amount of Pilates into athletic performance and see how we can develop athletes using this form of training as well. Like as a trainer, you always need to evolve. And sometimes you have to pick out of the box methods to like combine a couple of equations to build a beautiful algorithm. And I feel at this juncture of my life, I want to include Pilates in my next part of training athletes, training people, understanding how it totally becomes a product.
Right. Is anyone doing that? Anyone trying to merge Pilates with strength?
I really don't think it's my invention totally. I'm sure a lot of people out there in bits and pieces are incorporating some amount of yoga, some amount of Pilates, some amount of work on reformers. And that's okay. But I specifically for developing rotational power in the world of cricket, in the world of golf, I want to incorporate Pilates along with some amount of high compound strength lifts. So that's the whole ideology, that how do you mix 2 extremes of a training that yields in better performance, right? So I'm sure somebody's doing it. I don't have an answer that who's doing it, but in some way or the other, somebody's on reformer and somebody's on a lifting platform on the same day. And I don't think that's an issue at all.
Right. You said an interesting thing, right? The rotational force, which is now
the key.
Unless you're actually in sport, you don't think of it that way.
Yeah, you need to also understand that there are so many components of training, right? It's just not linear. You're just not running straight. You're changing directions. You're jumping. There's vertical, horizontal forces applied. There's rotational forces applied too. And without the actual intervention of your mind and muscle connectivity, you will have some amount of disconnect.
Right.
And with so much of work going in the last 10 years with just linear and just two-dimensional work, the rotational forces have just taken a back seat, right? Now suddenly we understand that how rotational forces are key to athletic development and how we can dig deep into it. Even though it's been there in the West, it's pretty big with the whole influence of baseball and golf. Now it's picking up in India in terms of the number of athletes who play golf professionally, number of athletes who play baseball professionally, number of athletes who play cricket as a explosive. Before there were just batsmen and bowlers as a division. Now there's an explosive batsman as a subdivision. So you gotta also fill and train categories like that, right? So and I want to diversify my information into understanding how we can like bucket into different pockets of athletic performance.
Got it. This connection with cricket, it actually goes back, right? You played.
I played cricket, but back in the day, it was like I've
club level.
Yeah, I've played club level. Used to be an all-rounder, and that time there was no glam quotient in the cricket world, right?
It was
like,
more long format.
It was more,
2 days.
It was more of like play whole day. We didn't even have colors, right?
Yeah,
we just
whites.
played in whites and red ball. White ball was like once in like a year or twice in a year, kind of like a tournament that you'd probably play. Then came corporate cricket, and that's where some amount of money was involved. And then the whole IPL gave a complete new face to the current cricket that is being played in club level, in corporate level, where grassroots level basically. So it becomes aspirational. It wasn't an aspirational level of cricket for me. I just wanted to play cricket because my friends played cricket.
Right.
It was an activity, more an activity, not anything that would yield money.
Right.
So I had to like choose an alternative career.
Right.
And yeah.
So like I'm assuming when like that time when you were playing, even when I was growing up, the focus was always on being technically right and trying to become a test cricketer, right? I think everyone is trained that way.
I feel it's still the same, but again, like how I mentioned and spoke about, like even the trainings evolved. Like you've got small buckets within the whole performance training, right? Even cricket has grown so much that all 11 players have a specific role.
Right.
So you fit in as an explosive player, you fit in as a person who stays solid to the game. Technique has to be there for all the 11. That's not a compromise at all. In any sport, any form of method that you practice, technique becomes the critical part of life. It does not change. But how you use that technique to play a certain role is what makes you a high intelligent, high emotional quotient athlete, right? Now we seek athletes who have high IQ, high EQ. How you react to a situation. Do you have enough ammunition in your closet to react to that ammunition with your IQ? That's how the reactive ability is, how you react under a scenario. If somebody's sledging you, for example, how do you perceive sledging? Is become a critical subject in athletic performance also. Like how do you react to a certain stimulus thrown at you?
Right.
Like say, for example, just cricket, like 3 wickets down. What would you do? You could be an explosive cricketer. Your job is to go out there and what do you do at that minute? So that makes you high EQ and high IQ player, right? So it's just not about one method of training technique. It's also you got to be 5-dimensional as an athlete. So that sport's grown. Back in the day, being a test cricketer was a thing for all the 11 players.
Right.
Now, every player is playing. So there will be a test player in the T20 11 also.
But a few.
But you need to know who that pick is and what that pick needs to do and how quickly they change roles. So single skill set is no more an acceptable requirement, right? You need to be multi-dimensional.
Right.
5-dimensional is what we look at. Good fielder, good throw, good batting, good bowl, few things, and somebody who's got capability to shuffle things around quickly.
So this is in men's cricket or also in women's now?
It is in women's, but it's not as deep because it's just growing.
It's still early stage.
It's very early stage. Like 2008 IPL versus a 2024 IPL. Huge difference. Like you've seen the evolution.
Yeah.
Women's cricket also will
go through that
phase where they will have to like build a solid foundation to get to a point where you cannot compare those two currently. Like you can't compare a 2024 IPL to a 2024 WPL because it's early stage of the entire tournament. The teams also are just 5 teams. Right? More women will now use this as an opportunity to build careers, right? A lot of us never had an opportunity back in, like how in 2008, I knew for a fact that if I had chosen cricket as my thing, I would have had to like work really hard to like build myself through in. Because when IPL came in, I was already out of the stage where I could have started career. But kids now, of 6 years ago, 7 years ago, who started their career, has an opportunity, scope, statement to be ticked, saying that, okay, cricket has a professional scope where the dividends are higher, right? Everybody looks at it as return of investment. Like you invest your time, effort, money into something and you yield back something. So sport also becomes like that. And passion plays an important role, irrespective. The base is hard work and passion, and then you do your calculations, right? So it's like that. Women's cricket is getting there. But the best part for women's cricket is it does not have to wait 15 years to get here. Because the learnings are high from men's, right? You already have a textbook with all feedbacks and all answers for the questions, all scenarios, experiences. So it'll grow faster. Already, like my personal experience from last year to this year, the huge turnout
in the attendance.
In the attendance. The stadiums were packed, and recognition. From last year to now, recognition also is really high. People recognize a player, a woman player. People recognize their capabilities, what they did, what they scored, how they fielded, how they brought the match to a victory side. So
and it's been very organic, no? Like it's
very organic. Like it does not look like it's been thrown at the face. It's very subtle, but people are enjoying it. Right? Parents are enjoying the fact that the daughters could at some point in time become a cricketer. That ambition, like if you talk to parents, they're like, I want my child. Like I have so many parents working out in the gym who have 8-year-old daughter, 10-year-old daughters. And they have spoken to me about the fact that how do we make our daughters play better cricket or how to get into the sport. So that's the shift. It's just not cricket, but WPL has given the women an opportunity to start thinking that they have a career in sport. Even though the other sports have done it. But the bandwidth that cricket in India gives is enormous. Right? You could always debate this point with me saying that, oh, women have played badminton before, women have won tennis before, women have done success stories in triple jump and long jump and track and field. But cricket gives you that bandwidth. Right? That assurity for calculating that ROI for my child who's a daughter, right? So that way the assurance is high. All the other sports gave you the fact that you can have your daughter play that sport or your child, your sister play that sport or your friend play that sport for sure. But cricket gives you that assurance that there is dividend. And I'm sure every athlete agrees to the fact that the cricketers always make more money than the other sport, right? Like they always know that cricketers get paid more. Right? And that's there in badminton. They will never deny this. That's there in tennis. They'll never deny it. Right? So that's that. Like the assurance bit makes you want your child to like pursue sport.
Right. You spoke about that EQ and the IQ factor, right? And I'm assuming at the top level of sport, that's very important because you want players who can think and who can react. So how do you train that?
So you can't train that
at that age. But when you're a kid, maybe
no. It's just about that's why they speak so well about mentors and coaches. Like you could be a great player, but can you be a great coach? Right? That's the factor that comes into play every time you think, okay, will an XYZ great cricketer become a great coach? No, it's not important. A coach's job is to not develop skill at that level. Everybody is very talented in that setup. Everybody is very talented in their respective role. A coach needs to identify what that person's strengths are, weaknesses are, the abilities to change that around. Right? There have been classic examples in IPL itself, men's, right? How certain players were used differently and they were crazy. Like it's surprising on how a coach can change that. So it's not about the skill set anymore at that level. It's about what a coach can make you do with that skill set. So that's high EQ that a player can understand what the coach's vision is. Right? That becomes a EQ, IQ quotient. The high IQ, EQ, they adapt really well. They change really well. That's why they grow that fast and they're rapid, because they have solid foundation, solid EQ, high Q in the game.
Right.
And coach just needs to like exploit that. So all the high IQ, EQ players are very successful, and you'll know how they've reacted to certain situations, what they did, how do they use their temperament as their strength, how they use their weakness as their strength, how they work and come back.
And if you don't have that, then you find it hard to go beyond a certain stage, right? You start.
So you will be in the same level, right? Your growth after a point is not skill. What you do with the skill, how you evolve, how you adapt, how you react to a stimulus, it all becomes at that. So for my personal learning around the 2 years of WPL and that huge setup was the fact that it's never about what you make the player do in the gym at that minute. It's about how you make that player do a certain thing in the gym and make them get the same output, ready. Get them to be match ready.
Right.
You can't make them really fast in 15-20 days. You cannot make them really strong in 15. It's about what is their strength, how do you maintain that, what is their weakness, how do you bring it closer to their strength levels. So that's all we seek, and that's all we want to do. That we do not want the weakness to get exposed and strength to just stay there, so that they keep optimizing it over and over again.
Right. So this career that you have in fitness and now also I can say in coaching, right? In some form. It is coaching, I guess, the technical term. There's a time in between when you were in the financial field. You were working for JP Morgan.
Yes. That was the fun part of life.
How did that happen? And how did you get out of that?
Nothing. It happened because I finished my college, and like everybody else, I had to like find a career and start working, and that's the norm of life. I chose a career in finance. I was always and still am good with numbers, projections, trends. Understanding the whole circle of math and compounding and projection and periodization. That's something that's actually helped me in my career at this minute.
Right.
Strength S&C is math. Right? It's math, physics, a lot of combinations. If somebody just says that it's all about just squatting, losing weight, even that is a math and algorithm in itself. Right? Again, it becomes to a point that what do you do with that compounding, comprehending skill that you develop, right? So JP Morgan gave me that opportunity and worked there for like 5.5 years. Right? That was the place where I actually realized that I should pursue something that I really like doing, which is in the field of sport and athletic, right? Because I also wanted to become a track and field professional runner, but there was no scope, so never really like bounced off. Chased that dream for pretty long, for another day. But so while I was with JP Morgan, right, I pursued strength and conditioning course. I studied. I was religiously working out a lot because I felt that it was my way to like rehab out of a shoulder injury. So I've undergone a shoulder surgery. I had dislocation. Like it was a pretty bad one. 2009, 2010. The scope of understanding such injuries was very little. So I used my curiosity would make me want to like Google and learn and try out exercises, see how I feel. And then I underwent a surgery, and then I had to do like a intensive physio. And even in that physio, I was like nerd, number one. Like I would want to do more, and I wanted to like understand how do I fix this. 5 to 6 months off the physiotherapy and stuff, it really got me engaged. That, okay, this is where I feel there's a gap in the whole setup. They're great athletes, gyms are there, but who's filling the gap for athletic performance, rehab, performance training? Like when I went out to like in search of good physios, the availability was very less. There were good physios, but I had to travel so much. I had to like get an appointment. It wasn't regular. So I understood that there is a gap. And I had good mentors in the world. In the world of fitness in Bangalore, they helped me like understand what I needed to do. And I chose to like pursue this. Outfit became a part of my life. We started with 2 of the other partners, and life moved on. Like even when I started Outfit, I always knew that, okay, if this does not work out, I will go back to JP Morgan, and I would not have to like live in regret, right? Because I tried. And I would have continued training and being fit and do whatever I could over the weekends. But Yeah.
Right.
Like,
And that's a huge shift, right? Like working in a place and then starting out on your own.
big shift because you become an entrepreneur.
Exactly.
It's a very cool term, but end of the day, you're just.
It's grind.
It's not an upgrade. It's a
grind work.
It's a grind. It's like you're actually from a very comfortable place. You're just jumping into
Yeah.
a sea. That's about
And
it.
the risk is
and
massive.
you do not know how to swim. You learn swimming while you're in the sea.
Yeah.
Right? You have no idea. There could be a shark attack. You could just drink a lot of water. You just learn.
Yeah.
You just survive.
Correct.
And that's the best part of it because every day is a new day. Every day is a new day. It is competitive. It makes you come out of the box. Like even if you do not like to, like personally, I'm a very introvert person. Like I like to be alone. I like to like not have heavy social interaction, no gatherings. I still do not go out a lot. I have very limited amount of friends. And for me to do a group class with 25 people, 20 people was something that was just thrown at me. It took me 6 months. Even when I started Outfit, it's not like the day one I started taking a class. My peers, the people we hired were all experienced. I was interning in my own gym for the good 6 months. But that actually was the turning point in my career.
Right.
If I was somebody who didn't have the employees that we hired and the peers who were really good, who were really like at a great place already in the career in that point of time, I would have been very complacent.
Right.
If I was number one in the gym, I would not have reached this far. I was on the bottom, right? And for me, the fact was, how do I get better than them got me to where I am today.
Right.
Like that's always been my turning point. It's not even JP Morgan coming out and starting the Outfit gym. What happened in that first 8 months is what actually got me to where I am. That curiosity of being the best trainer in the gym got me to start studying. I was being mentored by different people even while I was with the Outfit gym. I've worked with a couple of people who were training, like say Mary Com, who were training a couple of badminton players, who were training that time NCA. They were training. They were the trainers in NCA.
Right.
Right, like those kind of were my mentors. Like I would go and spend time with them, observe what they're doing, even when I was still with Outfit.
Right.
Right. So that kind of like started giving me that, and I was reading a lot. I was like, this does not stop. So that was the foundation of the S&C bit for me was real,
Right.
and that turned me into a thinker, into a researcher, into somebody who starts ideating in terms of how do we move to the next step. Like I already for Outfit, we already know what we're going to be doing in 2025.
Right.
What is the whole year's workout going to look like? What is the vision statement for 2025? What are we wanting to do out of... Like, we were the pioneers to actually in 2020, Chris and I, my partner, Chris started the one meal journey into a workout, into a whole setup that for us is like a big thing. He's selling a product which involves 1 meal, 2 meals, fasting, long hours. I sell a program that has 2 meals, 1 meal, fasting and stuff like that. And how do we... Like, we started something called as no rest day years.
Yeah.
Right? We don't even take tablets. We're off paracetamol for the longest. Right? Stuff like that. So these are the which are in thing right now. Like the ice bath.
Yeah.
We were like
been doing it for ages.
2015, 2014 in the drum, in the ice. Like just recovery. Like just be in the ice.
Yeah.
Right? So it become a in thing right now, which everybody's doing. So we've always done things that we visualized for like 2025 or 2028. Like we already know that these are the things that will probably change
Right.
in like another 2 years or 3 years. Like rotational conversation, the whole thing from the last 8 months that we've been talking about will slowly start coming into majority of the training bit. And you'll see that happen for sure. In like another year's time or 2 years' time, it'll all be about this.
Right. So in 2014, right, the starting of Outfit, at that time, if you look at it, all the popular gyms were Gold's Gym, Snap, Talwakers, all of that. These are traditional, your bodybuilding type gyms, right?
Yeah.
And everyone went there. And I think, I don't know how many, I think CrossFit probably was one particular, say,
it was new that was coming
very,
in.
very new, right? There's a lot of risk starting Outfit in that way because it's sort of Outfit's USP also, right? And then you added a lot of things through. And there is a differentiation that you can say today compared to a cult or any of those regular traditional gyms like Gold. The huge difference between a Gold's Gym and an Outfit, right? So that format then was new. So there's a bit of risk in trying that out also.
So back in the day, like everybody's evolved from the traditional bodybuilding. I really don't feel that we need to diss like a community. There's a big community out there who calls themselves functional training is the best training, and they diss bodybuilding, they diss
Right.
old school machine training, but they all have come from that background. That's the base of the world right now in the fitness industry. Anybody who denies it maybe is just a Gen Z who's not seen that. But back from the time millennials and
Yeah.
before that, bodybuilding's been the root, and we are still
Everyone
the
started
strongest
there.
people.
Right.
Right at this minute, if you actually look at it, the millennials and the generation before that are still old school, strongest people who will outperform and outlive and outrun and everything.
Right.
Right. Most of the athletes right now are like millennials who are say 30, 35, 40. So I really don't think that we were competing against the method.
Right.
Right. We were not competing against a gym. We were just introducing a new format of training.
Right.
Our vision was to just give quality coaching in a functional way, right? We just wanted to be that. We never said this is the best form of training. That never was our statement, and it's still not our statement. We still do bodybuilding without machines though, because we do not use machines, but we still do bodybuilding. We still think bodybuilding is far more superior if it's done right. It involves every concept that we athletic performance guys use. It's still there in bodybuilding. It's just that we just make it sound very cool. Like the packaging becomes a factor.
Right.
Right. So 2014, the vision was very simple. We wanted to be the best coaching center for functional training, form of training. Right. And we stuck to that even today. Even today, we do not like, if you see our gyms are not like one of the best looking gyms in the world. We're not even the luxurious segment. We're not even like high end. We're not even like a gym that is aspirational to come and take videos or record videos or like aesthetically look good. But our gym will compete to be the number one for training, building community, for the best programmed workouts, for inspiration, aspiration around you in the form of people who work out with you, around you, the vibe. Right? That's our chase. Right? So our chase is not changed. We've upgraded our facilities from time to time, as in how we've grown with our resources as well. But till date, we take pride in the way we coach, the way we train our trainers, the way we mentor. Our trainers are doing exceptionally well everywhere. That's one proud statement that I will want to like put it out, saying that whatever has been a part of our training unit, they will know it for sure.
Right.
They can call us bad employers, but we've been the best mentors. We've been the best people to like hammer them to be better coaches, better entrepreneurs, better humans who can deal with that much amount of entrepreneurial pressure. Like that's one thing. They're great coaches right now. Right? They're doing well for themselves. So that's a proud statement for us. So we've never moved out of that vision. Maybe we didn't pay well enough to like retain them. But yeah, we've done what we could. We still continue to do that so that our community is always enjoying our workout, right? So that's what we are known for, and that's what we'll always be known for. That's how we got the opportunities to work with bigger teams, with corporate houses, with people who are looking out for like quality training, right? We even when we use the word Gold's Gym and Cult and stuff, they've got the great resources, and we know that money-wise we'll never be able to compete. Right. They can open like at least 5 centers around us anytime. Like they could just do that like overnight. Right. But what will not change us is the fact that we will not stop learning. We'll always want to ideate. We'll be the ideators of the industry for sure. We want to be there. We'll always be looked at with respect as industry influencers, as industry innovators. We'll always get that respect, and that is a good victory. Good success story for us. That also is a great high, right? Where resources can't buy or can't get that. Yeah. So for us, that's been our motivation. That we'll always want to be industry leaders.
Right. This also has an element of not risk but a problem, because in any high performing environment you need like-minded, high performing people to surround yourself with, right? Even the ones you work with, even your employees. And it's, what do you say? At times if you don't find that right fit, it could maybe somewhere spoil your product, right? Because it's so heavily dependent on individuals and what they do in terms of how they follow the program or how they train or how they take your, say, wisdom and teaching and then impart it into the clients. So there's an element of risk there, right? So it's very important to find those kind of people who we want to work with.
So one of my very close mentor once told me that it's not about managing time or not managing effort. It's about managing people. That's the biggest quality you need to learn if you have to be a great entrepreneur or a good leader.
100%.
Right? People management is not even talent management. It's people management. Talent comes second. People, their moods, what inspires them, what motivates them, what makes them stick to the passion, what makes them stick to the roots of doing what. So since then, we've understood that we can work very well with a certain kind of culture because we established that when we started growing, right? We didn't have a gym culture or an outfit culture per se in the first 5-6 years. But as we kept understanding that people will come and leave, my partner and I also could leave outfit one day. But what won't leave is the team culture. How we want to be as a team, right? We're not the best payers in the market. We're trying to be, but we're not the best payers. We are using coaching, training, mentorship, opportunity to grow as a trainer, flourish as a trainer, as a motivation, intrinsic motivation from within. Like they should feel that, okay, they've learned something, they've grown, maybe not financially. They can, like the opportunities are vast, but it's not as great as an outside gym, right? But that's how we've learned to like use the opportunity that we have or resources that we have to like get better output from people. So we built a solid culture. Right? Our culture is that we are outfit first, community first, then trainers and people and motivators and influencers and etc.
Right. And that's how you will compete with the resources of a cult who has VC money to...
Yeah. And we all also have understood that you don't have to be like a scientist to do a basic stuff, right? You just have to be well studied, well informed, somebody who wants to learn and grow in this field every day. Curiosity. Exactly. The word is that you have to be curious. Because in a group class, you get 15 people with 15 different ways of doing things. And how do you learn to be able to coach 15 different kind of people is your curiosity.
Right.
Like, do you do your homework well? Post class, do you like sit down and make notes and understand what you do? That I still do. Right? I still make notes of who's done what, how they've flourished from year 1 to year 2 to year 3. Sit and do goal setting with them. Like that is such an important part of life, is that you got to understand that day one when they joined you, their goal maybe was to lose weight. But after 1 year, they realized that that was not a goal. That was just a fad in their life. So real goal setting happens after you take them through the whole cycle of training where they know that certain things are just fads in life, right? The real thing is to be the top performing human in the family, in their friend circle, in the society, right? You're always an athlete.
Right.
You could be just not playing a sport, but you're always a human and you have to perform at the topmost ability of your body, right? It could just be lifting a cylinder without getting tired. It could be, for example, you have to just run up 5 stairs, 5 fleet of stairs, someday because there's an emergency. Do you do that really well? If you have to like defend or say somebody's just snatched your phone, I'm just thinking over the box, will you be able to run behind or will you be able to like have a good grip strength, or will you like defend your family and yourself? So many things bring us to our vision statements on why women need to lift heavy weight, why women need to be very strong in the family, because they are role models.
Right.
The interaction of a child is much more with a woman in the early stage than the father or the male counterparts. Women are inspiring in the family. So if for us, 60% of our clientele are women. And that's so inspiring for us, to the fact that a lot of people, these are real people who want to come lift weights, run fast, be strong, be powerful. And they know they're not going to use any of the skill set in their life. But they just want to be fit for their family.
Right.
Want to be fit for the children. Want to be fit and strong because they deserve to be fit and strong. Right? That was the biggest myth that we keep busting in our gym, is the fact that this place or lifting or S&C is only for men.
Right. So, one of the things I've noticed in the gym is there are different kinds of trainees, right? I can call it that, or
Clients.
Let's go to that. That's a better way. some of them who come and they like definitely need a group class to and a sort of a curriculum or a schedule to sort of keep up and do what is required. Then there are ones who come and sort of do personal training, or that's a different format. Then there are ones who come and do their own workout, through their own self discipline and so forth. And obviously there's a level which you, Chris, and the others have, which is maybe 3 workouts a day, and then you're gamifying it because you're challenging yourself. Like you said, you're so deep in the math, you're looking at what your recovery was and you're tracking your sleep, etc. That curve, right, of going from the searching for a gym, so just so that I want to build a routine, to getting to where you are. What is the right journey for that? Like how do you push your mind to go in that direction? Because it needs incredible motivation, and you also need to enjoy the process. And it's very hard for regular people to sort of, no matter, and they might be successful in other things in life, right? I'm sure there are a lot of successful businessmen who come, there are a lot of other artists and so forth who come, but they need help in fitness, right? I have that similar problem, and I've realized, and I've told this to Chris too, which is I need external accountability. Like if I don't, have this feeling at the back of my mind that, okay, Chris is there waiting for me, we need to do the workout, I won't show up. And that's why when he's not there, I don't show up sometimes, right? All the time, actually. So how do you change that mindset?
To be very honest, I think we tried to do that the first half of our coaching career, but I don't think you can change that, right? There are people who like to be accountable. There are people who like to be disciplined, right? So basically, somebody like me. So between my partner and I, we both are very different people who enjoy the process in our ways, right? He enjoys the process through grind. I enjoy my process to just enjoying the workout, right? His goals are different, my goals are different. At the end of the day, result is both of us want to be the strongest, right? Both of us want to be the best performing human around each other. Like our competitive side is extreme, right? But the thing is, our process is the way we do it is very different. But ideologies are the same, right? I'm the guy who will want to like enjoy a workout. I'll be the guy who will be okay to like not work out on a certain day.
Right.
But Chris is not. Right? Chris likes to like work out with 5 people, 6 people, 8 people.
Yeah.
I enjoy working out by myself. I'm basically like, if I'm a coach's athlete, like if I have to talk to myself about if I was an athlete and continuing, I would be a nerd. Like if you tell me do 5 things, I will do 5 things. I will ask 5 questions, and I will, like if you tell me rest day. But I will also ask why rest day, what I can do, how much more. So basically, I'm that guy. Chris, if you tell him rest day, he will go and do another 5 things.
Yeah.
So he's that kind of guy. And for him, he needs people. His motivation is people. His motivation is different motivation. So people do not change. You as a coach have to learn to like work differently with them. Like how I said, like the coach's job in high level teams are not about developing skill set or changing habits. It's about using what you are as an athlete or as a client and build it around you. Like somebody like you, I will be accountable. Like I will make you journal a couple of things. But somebody, they don't have to be like told. They're just how they are. They like to be structured. They like to be in a bottle. They like to be like, if somebody like you, if you don't shut the bottle lid, you will come out and you will destroy everything that you've had to. And you will do it. And it's a no win-win, right? It's not called schooling. It's guiding you to stay inside the bottle. Some people will come out of the bottle and go back in without having to like worry about. There are 2 sides, but I can't give them, I'll be accountable to you. They'll get irritated. And with you, I cannot say, oh, why do I micromanage his personal life and food life? I'll just tell him he's mature enough to do it, but it does not work, right? So I'll have to handle you better. So it's just different goals, different people, right? You cannot change. I do not want to change a Saanand into somebody who's very structured, programmed, tailored to like be the first bencher, right? It's not going to yield anything. I won't enjoy, you won't enjoy, right? For us, it's never about the fact that what I want, right? If I just say, oh, no, you have to be like this, it does not happen. So when we do the goal setting conversation, I'll ask, what are your goals? You will give me 2 goals. Then I'll tell you that, okay, you bring 2 goals, I'll bring 2 goals. We'll make a nice recipe and we'll train, and then we'll do a goal setting after 5 months. So my job is to make you like the real thing.
Right.
I'm not taking you away from the goal. So if you say my job is to lose weight, And if you say, I'm going to starve to lose weight, I'll also put that on the table.
Right.
But I'll also bring my element of how to do this better and start making you enjoy what you're doing and not be like somebody who does a crash course and then have a straight steep fall, right? Our job is to help you realize that there are ways that can actually yield better results without having to go through the hardship. So that becomes critical for us, even in our clientele coaching relationship. That's why if you see, our clients are 5 years old, and these are one-on-one clients who pay a lot of money every month. Like we have clients who are 8 years with us.
Right.
They don't come to us because, we are great trainers or we are exceptional and we are changing their performance. They come to us for the matter of fact that we help them visualize what they aspire physically, mentally at that point of time in the year. Every year they've evolved as humans. Squats remain the same. The weights probably remain the same. But the relationship with training has changed. The relationship with food has changed. With sleep has changed. With people around has changed, right? Like the chase have changed. They used to chase fat loss. Now they don't chase that. They're okay to do, sometimes put on weight also, and they're happy. Like our job is to make them feel good about working out.
Right.
Right? A lot of people ask us, dude, how do you guys work out for like 2 hours and you're killing it and stuff like that? It's because we've shown these clients, like a lot of us, we get a lot of hate also that you're making people work out for like 2 hours. Buddy, we've taken them there. Not everybody works out for 2 hours.
Yeah.
We've got close to around 300 active clients. Not everybody does this for 5 people do it.
On that, is there an optimum time?
There is no optimum time.
It's each their own.
It's basically recovery. How much do you recover? There is no one fixed principle in this world. If somebody tells you this is the only way and the right way, run away from that coach. Run away. Till date, trust me, 11 or 12 years of me being working out. I'm not even talking of coaching, just working out. I still feel next year I'll be doing something different.
Right.
And I'll still be getting the same results and I'll still outperform and be on the higher side of fitness.
Yeah.
Like say Pilates was just that. Like if I told, okay, only S&C or strength and conditioning or bodybuilding or functional training or animal flow or only, if somebody says only weight, full stop. That's where as a coach, you've just ended your career.
Right.
And now you're just floating. That's about it. You're not swimming. You're not in the deep sea learning anything. Your entrepreneur life is over. Now you're on the boat and you're just guiding somebody to. That's about it.
Right.
So for me, this is like Chris does this.
Yeah.
He's
experiments.
Like for me, he's my motivation. Like immediate, if example, like if he was somebody who says, "Oh, I know it all and I'm done," over. Like how I said, at my turning point in my career for coaching was when we started Outfit and I had to work under my employee, knowledge-wise.
You need a lot of patience and humility to do that, no?
No, it was just like I saw them being better than me and I wanted to be better than them. So today, if I'm not better, Chris will be better than me and I'll not want that. So Chris will not want that either. And it's very healthy. It's not toxic. Right? We share information. So he learns from me, I learn from him.
Right.
And we work, like say for example, 100 Days of Shredville is my most successful DIY that I've done in the last 2 years. It involves lifestyle change. The name was suggested by Chris.
What's the program about? I know a lot of people are doing it.
It's basically, it basically teaches you to not take a break for 100 days. It teaches you life. It teaches you how to fast. It teaches you how to eat meals. It teaches you how to break your fast into meals. And it teaches you how to go out and still not be on a FOMO or on a diet. It teaches you to not be in a bottle.
Right.
It basically is a liberating program, right? It teaches you so many things that you pick yours and you continue the rest of your life. It's not it's not going to give you 6-pack abs, but it is the way to get you a 6-pack for sure. And happily through a process of not feeling FOMO. A lot of you know what, when I look around and when I talk to people, a lot of people are trauma training. I call them trauma trainers because they're always chasing and they're always like, oh, today I have to just eat off because from now on my diet starts.
Right.
They're trauma eating today for tomorrow. So Chris and I eliminate that. We remove the fact. That's why we eat food what we eat. Right? And we don't worry about the fact that, oh, today we're eating this because I'll put on weight or tomorrow there's a method.
Right.
There's a method to do what we do, and it's full science packed.
Yeah.
We biohack heavily. Like we might come across the bro brothers who don't know science. We have biohack. We listen to podcasts. We experiment. We are updated with all the current information about how do we do a certain things. So that's how we are ahead of curve, right? That's how we can stand on a debate, talk about how we can do a certain thing. So that's what it is, right? We're not trauma eating. We're not trauma working out. We work out because we enjoy that high of being in that zone. We enjoy working out.
Right.
Right? The soreness is there. Like it's there for everybody. Yeah. Like for example, today we are privileged to be this sore and work out and have. There are some people who are not privileged. That's why every time when we work out, we feel that we should be privileged that you get to do an activity you love doing.
Yeah.
We love working out when you get a chance to work out in the best possible way. I don't have to pay a trainer 50,000 a month to train me. I can do it myself. So why don't I use the opportunity to train myself the most optimal way? And what better than me being my own guinea pig?
True.
And then find people with different abilities to help them with the same things. And it's always a hit and a miss, right? This is like, human body is very beautiful. I tell a lot of people who say that, hey, now I can't do this. They fail to understand that human body is every day evolving. It's the best supercomputer you can ever have.
Right.
Patterns, everything is pattern. Everything is like, when people say that, oh, can I eat ice cream? Say you can eat ice cream. Or is fruit better than an ice cream? I said, if you time it wrong, both are bad. If you don't need to, both are bad. Sometimes I call that fruit is just ice cream with multivitamins in it.
Can you go deeper into that? Like, how is it like? How can the timing be bad? Like,
because if you wake up and if you've eaten a great meal, and if you don't need that kind of sugar in your body, it is still sugar. You need to understand insulin is not. Yeah, glucose, whatever sort of glucose is there, which is getting into your body. It's just that some comes with fiber, some is slow absorbed, some is fast one. The way it gets digested, ingested is different.
Right.
But the gut is blind. It's not discriminating that, oh, because you ate fruit, I'll be nice to you. I won't convert this into fat. If this is some sugar product that is above a particular level that is threatening you in your bloodstream, insulin will take that away from your blood.
Right.
And put that in your belly as fat. That's insulin's primary job. That not let your blood sugar spike to a life-threatening.
So
that's why diabetic is such a bigger conversation, and that I try to talk to people through the form of lifestyle that we want to change. Like my biggest battle is with the lifestyle that we are currently living in, where we want to eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, because we were told to eat breakfast, lunch, dinner. The only thing that's not evolved is these three things in the last 30 years or 40 years. Everything is evolved. Swiggy, we don't even walk to the
store,
bakery to get milk anymore. So why do we need to put something that our efforts have dropped down significantly?
So you don't need to eat that much.
Why do you need to eat a breakfast when you've eaten a dinner? Okay, eat your breakfast. Why do you need to fuel yourself again with high carbs or high fat if you have already done that in dinner? Like that's the problem is we've put ourselves into a very concrete small little box and we are following that structure. Other things we're not following.
Right.
So my battle is that why do you address something as breakfast, lunch and dinner? Call it a meal. You're hungry? Eat your meal. Not hungry? Lunch will come tomorrow. Lunchtime, that 12 noon will come tomorrow also. The samosa will be there on your table at 8 p.m. if you're hungry. If you look around, the world is trying to sell us with distractions and unhealthy stuff because this could become a very controversial conversation, but I have heavy reservations on how FM food and they work with hands in glove with pharmaceuticals.
Yeah. For sure.
Who is addressing that a lot? Like this could be again a very big controversial conversation, but like this is what we do and this is why we want to address it, and this is a medium, right? When the whole COVID setup hit us, what happened after that? We only would say this person had died because he had or he or she had pre-diabetic or diabetic.
Right.
And who addressed pre-diabetic and diabetic? Who's addressing that on a large scale? Where are the initiatives on such things?
Right.
All we did was we ate Dolo. We still continue to do so. So whenever I meet people, right, I tell them that every time you fall sick, and if your temperature is just like a degree up and down, cold shower it.
Right.
Go for a walk. Carb fast. Right? Carb fasting is great for healing. Bring your blood flow to a point where it's neat and you're moving. Movement is also going to heal you.
Correct.
I'm not saying go and run. Walking on incline.
Right.
Right? Electrolytes.
Yeah.
Electrolytes is the best way when you have fever or something to like.
Even
cold.
otherwise, right? I remember long back you telling me, we were discussing this after I left. I was leaving the gym and I said, I'm going to go have tender coconut. And I still remember you said, no, just get electrolytes, mix it and have, because it's minus the sugar.
Yeah. So coconut water is great as a drink. I'm not fighting against coconut water. I'm fighting for the fact that you are there in the gym for a weight loss journey.
Yeah.
I'm helping you save that 50 calories by saying that if you're wanting to have electrolytes, have salt, which is available. Right? Have electrolytes which can be available. I'm not saying tender coconut is bad, but then I'm trying to like optimize. That's my job, to optimize your hard work,
Right.
so that you're efficient, right? So same thing, like nobody addresses blood sugar is killing people slowly. What is anybody doing about it? Granola is not, I don't have a battle against granola. My battle is with the timing of sugar, the quantity of sugar. Why do you deserve to eat that much fuel? Like, just imagine, I'm not comparing human bodies to an automobile, but imagine your car just parked every day doing 5 kilometers of. Will you keep filling fuel every time you do 5 kilometers? You wouldn't, right? So why do you treat your body like that? Like every time you go for a run, you want to like feed yourself.
Yeah.
Let your body feed on the fat which is there in your body. I'm not saying starve for like 5 days. But understand hunger. Like, I'm sorry to like just say, but the very important is like right now at this minute, our generation does not know hunger. We perceive hunger.
Yeah.
We don't realize hunger.
True.
Right? We feel that we are hungry right now because we don't have nothing to do. Right? Maybe we are down on electrolytes. Right? Electrolytes, low salt makes you feel lethargy and hungry. So you eat sugar.
Right.
Sugar spikes. Insulin comes, takes away all the sugar from your blood. From a 160, you drop to a 90 because that's stable sugar. That 50 mg per liter crash makes you feel drowsy and sleepy.
Yeah.
Or makes you more hungry. That's how you continue it's a vicious cycle of insulin spike, sugar spike, insulin coming in, taking away the fat, right? Into converting the whole sugar into fat. And it's tough to come out. These programs are meant for that.
Right. So it's very hard for a common man to like process all this, right? Because it takes a long time of research and like you said, curiosity will drive you to information, but otherwise very hard. So what are the small things people can do? Like to just...
First thing I tell a lot of people is start with their kids. Like as soon as they wake up, do not give them food.
Right.
Like make them play a sport. Remove them from gadgets. Like I'm very old school guy, but like the dopamine that you need to use have to come from really good source.
Right.
Sport is one.
Yeah.
Salts. Pink salt in the morning is electrolyte is a good source of that. Working out is a good source of dopamine. Expressing gratitude, like very old school, but good social relationship is a great way to like enhance dopamine, right? So like alcohol, like I'm not being ethical here, but it cuts down your
100%.
100%. So don't like it gives you a good
high for a
good high, but then you need to keep So chase, like your kids need to get influenced by you. So work out, be active, don't keep eating all the time.
Yeah.
So the small changes that I will want people to do is I'll just tell them don't keep eating all the time. So, and some people who are say pre-diabetic or diabetic or have low BP issues, I tell them keep a candy with you. Keep electrolytes with you. Keep sipping on electrolytes. Keep a candy. If you really feel that, okay, now you're lethargy or your head's light, have that candy. Do not have a whole meal because you're feeling like that candy is good enough to like recalibrate your entire process in the thing, and you'll be fine. You'll be surprised that you didn't have to eat the entire day.
Right.
The minute I say remove lunch, breakfast, dinner terms from your life is sorted.
But on the same, there's also the problem of not eating at the right time and not having a routine, which sometimes messes with your gut also, right? Or your...
So again, everything is independent, right? your circadian is one. Wake up to sunrise and go to bed at sunset. We can't follow that.
Right.
I can't be rigid saying that, oh, now you sunset, shut work, go to sleep. Cannot happen.
Right.
How do you optimize in current conditioning is what makes you a good trainer.
Right.
Right. So the first thing first, like you cannot follow that. We established it. But what you can do is at least and let your body understand that for yourself, right? At least go to bed at the same time every day. At least don't use screen
Right. A few hours before you.
few hours or even not even hours, like an hour before. That does the big significant stuff. Do not watch TV and eat food.
Right.
Big thing. We don't even chew. So if you talk about gut, we don't even have saliva in our mouth when we're eating.
Right.
Chewing makes you produce more saliva, right? Saliva has got the microbiome that you need, basically the bacteria to digest your food. There's no grinder inside.
Yeah.
The bacteria, the good bacteria, actually does the digestion. So eat probiotics, eat fermented food like dosa, idli, appam, best breakfast. But we want to eat cornflakes, which is just filled with sugar.
Right.
So this is the problem with the industry, right? If you say, I'm going to eat idli, oh, you're unhealthy, you're eating so much food. If you eat cornflakes, you're healthy. It's become a term. Like the whole marketing that the West brought to us was, they sold us fast food.
Yeah. Also, breakfast is the most
They made it
important.
glamorous. They made it more validating. Like if you eat cornflakes, you're cool.
Right.
But if you eat appam in the morning, you're uncool.
That
Was the biggest biggest reason why like a country like us is facing the challenge right now is because fast food is our main food.
Right. So this is there in every facet, right? This is one of the questions I want to ask you, which is you create a lot of programs. There was a time when probably 10 years back, people would look at it, an Indian trainer creating programs, and they would not have that level of trust, which is not only in fitness. I think everywhere. We wanted to wear foreign brands, buy foreign cars. If you had an option to buy something from Tata and like save in a
Bata.
Hyundai, yeah.
Bata and a Nike.
Yeah, right? You would go. It's just a trend everywhere. I think it's changing. But it would have been harder for you to have these theories or even the programs that you create if you had done it 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
It's maybe a lot more acceptable now. And that's just generally the society has changed, wherein I think we are more trusting towards our own people and the knowledge that we are bringing to the table. So have you seen that also?
So that's changed everywhere, no? Like the last 10 years, even if you look at what happened 4-5 days back or 3 days back or something like that, India became the fourth biggest stock market with some 5 trillion.
And that's the last 4 years actually.
Yeah. So,
since COVID,
so basically we are changing.
Yeah.
As a whole nation,
Culturally,
right?
country.
It's a whole nation change. Like we're number ones in a lot of field, right? We've become number. So the trust factors come through a lot of work the last 10 years or our peers did and the ones before. It's just not us. Or like if we say only this generation 10 years did everything, no, that is not a story. We took inspiration from the previous generation, and it's a cultural pass down. And now we just solidified it because we had to make a living out of it.
Right.
And basically there's fight and flight mode. And we fought to be recognized, right? So we didn't like say Americans and Brits and Australians, so we'll just copy paste. We were the guys, why? And that was our biggest victory, is the fact that we recognized culture. Even today, food-wise, when you talk to me, I will understand what you eat and then give you food.
Right.
But our training never happened that way, right? Back in the day, everybody did American style or Russian style or Chinese style. That's all it is called.
Yeah.
Like you're American weightlifter, you're Russian weightlifter. Techniques change, the way the knees push out change, and the way you do something change because inspired from different continents, right? Dominating performance continents, right? We can't rule out the fact that they were pioneers in a lot of stuff. Great, we used it but culturally, we also lacked out on a lot of things, right? We have so many things that we really incorporate in our life, right? Like now yoga is going back to them.
Yeah.
Like a lot of American athletes do Surya Namaskara as a warm-up.
Yeah.
Full body warm-up. It's just that we do not understand and realize the fact that we already have so much in us, capability-wise, but we underuse it.
Correct.
Like food-wise. Right? Dosa is still the best serving breakfast on the planet, I would say.
Nutritionally or just like personal choice?
No, nutritionally.
Right.
Right? It's It's got probiotics in it. It's fermented. It's got carbs, right? All you gotta add is like say, a protein source with it, and you're sorted.
Like
And-
dosa egg.
Yeah, egg dosa, like best. Like we still do not believe the fact that that could be a great breakfast if you're somebody a breakfast eater.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we want to eat cornflakes. We want to eat granola. We want to eat avocado on blueberries and toast and stuff like that. I'm not saying avocado is a problem. Avocados were grown in India all way long for the last 10 years. Not like suddenly there's a tree that's come out and right. What happened? Suddenly that they've become so in demand,
The boom
right?
of avocado is crazy.
Yeah, that's because of Western media, right? The whole culturally we always have so many things going around us.
Yeah.
Right? We just fail to look at it, and these are the stuff that we really need to fix in our industry. The fact that stop chasing what's not in our reach, right? Because see, the cost factor also becomes a thing. Blueberries are expensive.
Yeah, very expensive.
Goji berry, Indian, have it. Same. Like, come on, man. Like, it's so disappointing to see that we chase such things where it's not cost effective.
Right. So, what's your experience been like comparing this aspect with like some of these foreign players that you're now working with, right?
No, trust me, actually, that's an eye opener. They are so, like, we'll realize when we talk to them, they appreciate their culture so much.
Right.
They do not do anything like, oh, Americans are doing, so I will do what they're doing. They'll still do what is their scene. They will still eat their food.
Right. Is it also because maybe they're a little more down the journey in fitness in general? Like,
They're not chasing.
right, exactly.
They're not chasing. We are chasing. For us, it was always aspirational to be there, like them.
Correct.
For them, they're not chasing. And that's the beauty part, is that they enjoy working out. Like, I know they love working out. They love being... Because they also know for the fact that this is a sport. They treat it as a sport. And this is with all sports.
Right.
It's just not just cricket. It's everywhere. They treat that as like our 9-to-5 job is. And they do it really well.
Right.
So they come to the practice to be a good player. They don't take back the whole, oh, if they had a bad practice, they take it back. No. They will again come tomorrow, try their best.
Right.
Enjoy the whole grind, go back. That's how all these great athletes, if you actually read about everybody, like the big ones, they always talk about the fact that they don't let their bad performances decide or judge their today's performance. Or they do not let their good performance take away the hard work that they'll put today. They will still go at 4 a.m. if they have to go to practice. They will still, no matter they've become 16 Olympic medals or they've won MVP 4 times, does not change. That's constant.
Right. On that note, I really want to ask about Ellyse Perry, because you worked with her and she put that story up, right, of you and all of that, I remember. She's a special athlete because two sport, right? She played the FIFA World Cup women's and then played cricket also. And I think she also has double century in an Ashes test, something like that. How does someone become, at that elite level, have such an extraordinary, blessing of two sports skill to a point where you have to then choose? And there are very few examples of that. I think there was a bowler for New Zealand who was also a rugby player, I think, long back in the mid-2000s. Forgot his name, but there was somebody like that. And I think Viv Richards, also played football, if I'm not wrong. I think he for Antigua. I think he played football and cricket as well, and then he had to choose. There are very few examples of that.
But you also see a lot of players have had a second job or a primary job, and cricket has been their second job. Most of them, a lot of them. So it's just the same scenario. What is going to bring food to your table?
But how do you see, a job is still different, right? Because elite athletic capability is like, you have to perform.
Yeah. So is a job of a VP. It's just the same. Like, the thing is, we'll try to complicate it as much. But if you simplify it to the fact that you are not being a VP right now or a process what manager could you be? Like product manager or something like that. You are an athlete who's still, you're professional. Like a doctor goes to the hospital to perform surgery, then he still has to perform the best way possible. He still has to be fit. He cannot be partying Saturday night if he has to do a surgery in the morning. Which doctor would do that? Would you go to a doctor who's partied?
No,
right? Like, we obviously, if somebody tells you this doctor's had nice alcohol in the night and coming to perform a surgery, you will already not trust that scene, right? So it's basically, it's a job. It's just that now you're doing a passionate job. Like whatever you are doing right now is a passion project. You will still come in the morning, prepare 3 days before, understand what you need to do.
Sure, but I think the demands of the job.
No, it's just the glam quotient of different sport, or the demand of the job is different. And the payment also comes in a different form, right? Like, that's about it. It's still a job. You still want to do this to have your basics like house and food and social life. And so now, what is the thing is, sport gives you an opportunity to be very socially recognized, right?
Sure.
So basically, validation. You're standing in the society. Sport gives you that more. Now, if you're doing a job that is not going to give you that, then you'll feel it's a tedious process. If you do not have a job that helps you start thinking beyond what you're doing, then you're stuck in the job. That's why you start wanting to look out. As a sportsman, every day is a new day. Whatever happens in the past, end of story. Tomorrow, fresh day, new ball, new bat, play, do whatever. It's up to you. You are in control of your life. So it's still a job. You still have to practice. You still have to go to the gym. You still have to eat well. You still have to sleep on time. You still have to do those things right. And it's high risk, high reward. You could not become anything after 10 years. Like, your friends could have become a big VP in a multinational, and you would still be playing at club level. Like, if I had to chase that dream of being a cricketer back in 2004, 2005, I was like, dude, I could have just chased it. But I didn't chase it. I didn't risk. So no reward. That's about it. Somebody who did, played IPL.
But that's all.
I know a couple of people who were my peers then, who were playing cricket, and they've made it to IPL, and they're like way sorted. But that's the risk they took, no, Baba. Like, you gotta reward it.
Sure.
Like, I chose to go to a job that is like low risk, easy reward types.
Right. But the sheer time, right? Like, if you're playing two sport, assume at the highest level, all the time you put in sport one, potentially is time taken away from sport two, right?
Not near really. Like, skill training you actually do is just 45-50 minutes a day. The rest of the time you're just sharpening your sport, right? You're doing the physical work, which is going to the gym, which is filtering your thoughts, understanding stimulus. That's where you build your EQ, IQ, right? It's not when you practice you build your EQ, IQ. What you do outside, like they say, abs are built not in the gym, outside the gym. 23 hours, right? That's all. What is that?
Right.
So the decision to eat a samosa or to not eat a samosa at that minute is your high IQ, EQ. Same way for Ellyse, great high IQ, high EQ athlete. So she is that human that you will feel inspired watching in the gym. She would have bowled the entire match, batted. She will show up in the gym next day in the morning. So work ethics actually make her the most looked or sought after athlete. Like, I would want to have an Ellyse in the team, irrespective, even she's performing or not performing, because we know someday she'll perform and she's a match winner.
Right.
So that's a class of an athlete, and she's on that. She chose cricket. I don't know why. I've never had that conversation with her.
I read somewhere that she had to, I think, practice games. A lot of clash, right?
Yeah. But as an athlete, when you look at her in the field, when you're watching her from the dugout, she's the one covering field from one end to the other end. She's running the doubles really hard. She's inspiring the young ones. She's talking. She's mentoring. She's doing everything.
Yeah.
So
after the WPL, obviously, I knew very little of women's cricket outside of Indian women's cricket. So I went and watched her videos. I watched her debut and stuff. She picked up 4, I think, against England on debut. And she was quite quick, like 130s.
She still is.
Yeah. So, and that's, I think, to be, and she played, I think, the FIFA World Cup women's in 2012, 13, something like that time. So, to do both, I thought was extraordinary.
Because I feel women's cricket back in the day wasn't that high paying, right?
Yeah,
so I'm sure she had to figure the way out to see what is making
also,
her.
Also, the scheduling wasn't as grueling as it is today.
Yeah.
You have time also, I guess.
So much time. And but also just to see that 15 years or 10 years later, she still shows up in the gym after a match she doesn't have to do it.
Yeah.
Trust me, even if she does not do it for 5 months, she'll still be the top performing cricketer for women's cricket.
Yeah.
She's
considered GOAT, right? Is she?
100%.
Yeah.
She is by definition, she's done everything possible for women's cricket and for Australian cricket for herself. So I think she is.
Chris, when he was here, spoke about this change in the Indian cricket's fitness regime with Olympic lifting, for example, coming in, and he spoke about how Virat was one of them who sort of pioneered that. Have you seen similar changes, in terms of in the last 15 years or so?
Heavy change technology wise, in terms of how traditional gyms moved out and data driven equipment started coming in. Like now people use force plates,
Yeah.
where they make you jump on the force plate and your output is defined on how much. Like before it used to be blind eye. Oh, now you've given this much effort, but now you have force plates. Now you have like what do you call IR to like give you good recovery. So the tools have changed for recovery also. Like you start using therapies that help you recover faster.
Yeah.
There are these technologies which are like for inflammation to go. They're like these equipments on steroids basically. They're like that good. Like in 3 days you will start seeing hectic results.
Right.
Like ice has become cold compression. Now that cold compression travels with you. Before you only had was like ice dips, right? Now you can do multiple things. So that way it's evolved heavily. Like crazy evolution in terms of the tech space inside performance training, inside the gadgets, inside the tools, inside the kind of education is bare minimum to be a part of that ecosystem, right? Now you can't just be a regular certificate holder to like be a performance. You have to study a good course, get a degree, multiple certification. Now, before it was just a BCom, you get a job. Is that enough? Now MBA also don't get a job. MBA and specialization don't get a job. Like now they do the basics. So it's just improved so much that you have to keep evolving.
Right.
And cricket's evolved, like weightlifting, powerlifting, like every form of training, like speed and development, everything is coming like hectic.
And other types for like bowlers do this type
Everybody. So that's why I said all the 11 have a different roles, right? Like they need to play dual roles, triple roles, and it's training based on that. Like now, like before there used to be one coach, one bowling coach.
Yeah.
Now there's spin bowling coach, and there's fast bowling coach, and there's fielding coach, and power hitting coach, and just batting coach. So the team of people monitoring also is improved, right? The whole team is huge. Like there is 11 for support staff also.
Yeah.
Even physio and recovery. There are physios for just recovery. There are physios for critical injuries. There are physios for like just managing mobility and stuff and understanding preparedness for the game. Then so much has changed. Like before, one physio doing everything, right? So now category in everything.
Right. And it's becoming a bit like NFL, right? They have large squads, if you look at it, and big support staff.
Yeah, because the output of work also is that high, right?
Right.
If you see, look at an IPL, it's a 2-month tournament. Playing 14 games. Certain players don't even play 14 games the entire year.
Yeah.
Right? And these are high pressure games.
Yeah,
like
high intensity
2
games.
days, yeah. High pressure. Intensity is great for all, but pressure also is high, right? You're playing in front of 50,000 people, 60,000 people. And now you're competing against the greatest. The greatest are in your team.
Yeah.
So you don't want to let them down. There's pressure of so many people watching you, pressure of making it big, pressure of auctions next year, pressure of getting retained next year. Oh my, this crazy pressure games, right? So the stress levels are already very high. You're already mentally tired,
Right.
right? So we've got like in the whole setup also we've got psychologists who help players deal with that. We've never heard of these things before, right? So these are things growing because of NFL is a sport which is physically taxing, but also like stress level because it's the number one paid sport in the world, number one watched sport in the world. Everything is number one. So if you are like MVP of NFL, you are right there. You know you're the best athlete regarded in a sport, a team sport, right? And then comes boxing for individual and stuff like that. But yeah, that's how the teams are. Like you need, if you're wanting to be a champion team or a winning team, you have to have a winning squad.
And with franchisee cricket exploding the way it is, cricket is going that way, at least in T20 and
it's already gone. No? Like worldwide, you see everywhere there's a franchisee cricket scene going in. Like I feel the World Cup's now going to US where we'll start taking on these sports straight up. It'll grow. Olympics got cricket now. Asian Games had cricket. So now we will start seeing majority of cricket-oriented, cricket-centric sport in all the major part of the world. Like America was the only place I feel that cricket wasn't like touched in a way that it's touched UK and Australia. And
there's a reason for that. You know what? I was researching. So there was a time when they used to. So apparently the first cricket match ever played was in the US. It was even before the England-Australia thing.
Okay.
And they apparently stopped because of boycotting everything that's British.
Okay.
So they started creating alternates.
So baseball.
Football, baseball is cricket's alternate. They created their version of football.
Soccer.
And basically that's just the I think somewhere in the late 17th, early 18th century, they just went that way. And
Yeah,
as a
but
result-
so now it's coming back, and now with the World Cup being played in US, it's a
yeah, a lot of Indians in
times
that
have
team. I
changed.
watched under 19 World Cup. All 11 were Indians in the US team.
But they will be like
Yeah.
American-born Indians.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but that's what it is. Like, but it's a great thing, right? It's a good growth for the game. It's a good growth for the fact that we played so beautifully.
True.
Yeah, so
Yeah. And
the number
USA
one.
just beat Bangladesh.
Yeah, so even
2 games.
Ireland beat Pakistan or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
beat.
Couple of weeks back.
Yeah, they did beat.
Yeah, they did.
It's a see. That's what the sport is. Just something that will grow. Like you, me, the sport will always grow.
Yeah.
Now, do we want to be a part of that growth, or do you want to like hold the sport back? That's the option.
But is there a risk, like, because T20 I think levels teams out because it's
Yeah.
shorter, right? But longer formats, obviously, not everybody can play because of obvious reasons. Financial, also skill levels are not there yet. So is there you see a scenario where Test cricket starts dwindling down? Because I know you love Test cricket, right? Obviously,
It'll never.
they'll never let it go down, right?
No,
But do you see more?
I don't
teams
even
playing it?
think they will never let. I don't even know. That's the right statement. Cricket per se is a game that will always flourish with great technique, great capabilities in the field, great mindset. Right? It's still a gentleman's game. Right? You can see all the explosive sting come in, but how beautifully timed shot looks is still never gonna go outdated, right? You'll still want to seek that cover drive, right? You will still want to seek that defense. You will still want to seek that somebody is bowling a 145 and you're trying to like the clean bowl. Till date, when you get those in-swinger clean bowls, like you will still want to go back to those days and watch those. And still when somebody does that, you're like appreciative of that. We still have test series so close. We still have series that we really wake up in the morning to watch and see how it's a game that will flourish. It's just that we feel it that test cricket is dying is because the ones who we watched as our favorite athletes now have retired.
Yeah.
So our level of perception has changed. The sport hasn't changed. Now we don't see, I would love to watch Dravid and Sehwag and Sachin, Lakshman, Kumble, Harbhajan Singh, and I would wake up at like 4 a.m. to watch Australia match against India and stuff because they were my growing up superstars, right? And once they stopped, so I also stopped watching so much of test cricket. So it's nothing to do with the sport, right? It's to do with perception. Like for me, I was watching at that because of a certain things. Now I watch it for a certain things because now it's for me career. I need to see how evolved the sport is, how the shot needs to be played, what I can do better, what happens on the field, how to manage a athlete that I'm training. So my perspective for training has changed. If tomorrow I start training somebody who's a test player, I will start watching test again. And this is my individual choice of life, right? If I was training a boxer, I would be watching boxing. I still watch boxing, but not what I used to watch before. But if I get a box, I will start watching it very closely. Maybe I'll fall in love with me as I'll find a superstar in that sport. Right? Like so many people have so many attachments to a Federer or a Nadal or a Djokovic. Once they retire, they will also have that bleak moment and not watching. And they'll start comparing, oh, tennis back in the day was crazy. Maybe it's still crazy, but it's just that they will never understand because they were never connected to that. We connect. Our human psychology is the fact that if you support a team, you will take a bullet for the team. Yeah. No matter how bad they are or how good. It's a human thing.
Correct.
They will never say if I choose coffee, I will always find 300 good reasons to say coffee is better than tea. It's the same battle. So if you love tea, you will say coffee is the worst thing to ever have. It's bitter and whatever. And then if I love coffee, I will explain to you that how beautiful the bitter taste feels.
The bias.
Yeah. The bias is always, the trend will never change.
Among the young cricketers that you see today, what's their end goal become? Is it more IPL or is it more like test cricket?
I'm nobody to judge.
But do you see any kind of trend, like any kids coming and playing the sport today? Like what's the pinnacle for them? Do they look at it saying, okay, I want to be all format player. I just want to be in IPL.
I really do not interact with any young ones. Most of my athletes are like middle-aged. Not middle-aged, old, but like middle-aged in the sport who've already gone through the...
Mid-20s.
I'm not training any Gen Z cricketers right now. As this minute, I have no direct... minus the ones that I have interaction with the WPL, but no direct interaction where I've had an opinion about it. So I really don't know what to say. But 100% the chase is different for sure.
The status is
Status
too big to ignore, right?
Yeah, it's too big. Like it can make you or break you, right? So the only ones, basically there's fight and flight again in this. Fighters are the ones who are surviving. The flighters are the ones who are trying to like just float in the shallow water.
Right.
It's always that, like whenever I have to like judge an athlete's performance or how they are like and put them in a bucket, it's either these guys underperform, do better, or underperform, try to like find a corner. And then as an S&C, I try to see how do I use them to change that. I can only change the flight and fight mode. I cannot change anything in them.
Right.
From the flight mode, I'll try to bring them to the fight mode. A lot of people say, oh, under pressure, this guy performs. So basically, when there is a fight, he's fighting. Some people have different ways to fight. Fight does not mean aggression. Fight means calmness also.
Right.
Fight means how you respond to a stimulus. Right? So it's just that fight and flight mode. S&C, in our world, the biggest conversation is this athlete a fight mode or a flight mode. If a flight mode, we do not attack them anymore. Like if I know somebody is like getting overly defensive, it's because that person is on a flight mode. So we have to cope up. Like diet is that. Like trauma training is that. That person is in a flight mode. Always fighting away from the fact that it has to one day confront the situation. So we just try to like bring it we open them towards enjoying their whole process.
Right.
And this applies in every sphere of decision making. Every sphere. Like you might have done a bad match yesterday. Do you want to sit in it and dwell? Or do you want to come out, do your routine? That's why great athletes still will show up next day. Good match or bad match. Train the same way. They're not result driven, they're process driven.
Journeys
the fight ones are very process driven. They trust their process, not the result. The result ones are the ones who are shaky and who lack some amount of EQ, IQ. And that's something that we have to develop. Some people are like fighters. They call them, oh, he's going to like make a comeback of his lifetime. And all, because we know that they're fighters. They might take 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, but they'll stay relevant.
What is probably the most important thing that nobody told you when you started a gym or got into fitness, but you would probably want to give to someone young aspiring to follow this career path?
Manage time. I think time management and how to utilize time is the most important lesson I'd probably give every S&C trainer out there. Compartmentalize your entire day. 24 hours. You've got to put yourself to sleep, food, training yourself, training clients, making money. That 4 hours or 5 hours that you have, spend time studying, learning, reading, interacting with your counterparts, interacting with people who are leaders in the industries outside. Like you have to interact with non-industry people also to understand their perspective, their views, how they perceive fitness industry from the outside. Take opinions. Judgment is up to you, but take opinions on how current perception is, what's the trend. It is very important that you trend set first, then make a bias, then execute a setup, right? That's what my routine is. First, understand the trend. What's the trend? Then what are your bias towards the trend? Like, are you pro it or are you like non-pro it? And why are you pro? Why are you not pro? And if you're pro, how do you do a particular setup? What is the executed option? If you're not pro, what is your particular way of dealing with it? And then final output. Then press go. Do not trend to execute. No. I think a lot of the young ones from the trend, the minute they see this is the trend, straight press go. Where is your bias? Where have you done your research to where you stand at and what you need to do? What is your learning? What would be your setup based on your biases? And then execute. You're just without a setup, without a bias, straight trend and execute. No. So manage your time and do that. These are the two critical things that I'll probably give anybody who's trying to like start out or still in process.
Right. Great.
Cheers.
There's a lot more things I want to ask you, but we'll do this again.
Part two.
For sure.